Hello doctors, Namaste, welcome to Career 360. The NEET PG examination is all done. So what we are now showing you is the possibility of what rank which college will come, and this is based on our last year's data as much as factoring for the kind of increase in seats that you have for the 2025 cycle. Let us go through the data and I'll explain to you at every point. Now the first thing that you must know is that in all NEET examinations, NEET UG or PG, the 50th percentile is the first qualification. But at PG, it keeps getting relaxed because all the seats don't get filled in. In NEET UG, it rarely gets relaxed because the number of students who take the exam is about 25 lakh and the number of seats is about lakh. But at NEET PG, the number of students who take the examination is about 2 lakh plus and the seats are about 50,000. And the private medical colleges find it hard to fill in the seats because the fee is not afforded by every single person out here. In fact, 90-95% of Indians can't afford the kind of fee that is charged by private institutions. So because of which the minimum percentile qualification keeps getting relaxed as you move along. So what essentially happens is that if you look at 2024 date, right, when the last year when it all happened, of course the starting point was 50th percentile. For general EWS, for general PWD is 45th percentile, and for SC, ST, OBC it was 40th percentile. But by 6th of January 2025, 5 months after the results were declared, all the seats were not filled in. Qualification itself was reduced to 15th percentile for general EWS and 10th percentile for the reserved category. Even then the seats could not get filled in, so they also reduced it to 5th percentile. So the simple thing that I'm saying is, whatever your rank, there is a great possibility if you can pay the fees that you'll get into one of the private medical colleges. That is for sure. The question is, which college and what kind of branch would you get? That is very important for you. Otherwise, you're most likely to get a seat. That is very clear. In fact, in 2023, last qualification was reduced to 0 percentile, which means anyone who appeared for the examination could get a seat because they could not fill in some of the branches in some of the colleges for the kind of fee that is charged. So that's where we stand in terms of the qualification percentiles. Now let's look at how many candidates appeared for the examination. In 2023, 2.08 lakh students appeared for the examination. 24 it went up to 2.28 lakh and in 25 it is 2.42 lakh. If you look at the number of students who appeared for the examination, these are registered students by the way. If you appeared, its 2 lakhs has become 2.3 lakh. So in the last 2 years, there is a 15% growth. In the number of students who take the examination, that's a 15% growth. So to that extent, there is more competition to the extent of 15%. Now, what are the seats that they are all fighting for? In 24, you had 47,123 seats. In 25, you have 49,873 seats. So you're essentially dealing with about 6% growth in the number of seats, 6 to 7% growth in the number of seats. And that is what you are looking at. And this is across 557 colleges. Of this 49,873 also, about 27,000 is public, government, and about 22.6 is private. So this is what we're dealing with. This is dealing to 49,873. The reason why I'm talking about this is there is greater competition here because the fees is very, very affordable. There is lesser competition here where the qualification, everything will get relaxed. But this is where you stand at this point in time. Now, that's what we're talking about, the private seats and public seats. I've already explained to you. Now, what are the chances that you'll get into a college, right? So what I'm first showing you is the closing ranks of government colleges, right, across the 6 or 8 preferred clinical branches that you have. And this is the closing rank. If you notice this is closing rank, which means before this there are a lot of students, but that's the last rank at which you're likely to get that kind of a branch. Now, radio diagnosis is the most preferred branch, most competitive branch. So there, unless you get a rank of 3,116, and which means this time if you add the number of seats and all those things, unless you get a rank of less than 3,200, you will not get into a radio diagnosis in a government medical college. For dermatology, venereology and leprosy, it's 4,758. So I'm talking of 5,000 this time. Now this is at Siddipet, by the way. So we're no longer talking about the college, we're talking about the branch and the closing rank for that particular branch across the country. You are eligible, right? MD General Medicine, only in Tezpur you could get it 5491, which means at 5,500 is what you need to have to get into any of the general medicine if you want to do only general medicine. Paediatrics is 8289. And by the way, these are all at round 3. Typically what happens is radio diagnosis gets away in the first round, but you keep moving on to round 2 and round 3, and that is what happens, right? But this is the closing rank after the entire counselling is done, which has happened in the round 3 as far as government medical college is concerned, as far as these branches are concerned. Now, obstetrics and gynecology, it's 12,402. For general surgery, it's 13,854. For orthopedics, it's 15,359. For psychiatry, it is 22,787. And for diploma, it is 14,377 for radio diagnosis post MBBS. So this again, if you now notice, if you don't get an MD here, people just jump onto the diploma and then get it done. That's very clear, because if you notice this, they would rather do this than jump onto any of these branches, because people prefer to do that. So essentially what you're dealing with is between 3,000 rank and 15,000 rank, right? You're likely to get any of these seats. Rather rank 1 to rank 15,000. But if you want only radio diagnosis, it's about 3,200. And if you want dermatology and all, it's 5,000, and so on and so forth. You can very clearly see this. Please take a screenshot of this if you want to. Now, what are the closing rank in government colleges for some of these most preferred branches? And I told you earlier, radio diagnosis is the most preferred branch everywhere. Now, and I'm talking the top 5 colleges in the country. Top 5 colleges, and what is the closing rank that you have? For radio diagnosis in AIIMS BHU, Varanasi, the closing rank is 102 last year. For general medicine, it was 260. These for Institute of Medical Sciences, Benares Hindu University, Varanasi. For Madras Medical College in Chennai, again radio diagnosis. If you now notice this very carefully, we are talking of the best branch being preferred is radio diagnosis, followed by general medicine. And that you can very clearly see in terms of the kind of closing ranks that you have. Right? Radio diagnosis for BHU finished in the round 1 only. After that, it was over. There was no round 2. It was over. The seats got exhausted. But when you came to general medicine, it went up to round 2 also. And at 260 rank, you got it. For Madras Medical College, the 73 was the closing rank for radio diagnosis, and it went up to round 3. General medicine, 748 went up to round 3. The Delhi one, the Vardhaman Institute of Medical Sciences, Mahavir Medical College, and which is in Safdarjung in Delhi. This is the most competitive of the colleges that you have. Radio diagnosis closes at rank 25. So you should be a topper. Then you'll get it. And it was closed in round 1 itself, straight, over and done. Right? And then followed by general medicine at 93 rank. And it went on to round 2. Then you have King George Medical College in Lucknow, 295 being the closing for radio diagnosis. General medicine is 1166. And then IPGMR, which is in Calcutta, 144 in round 1 itself, it closed on for radio diagnosis. For general medicine, it was 545 rank. But it went up to round 3. So if you carefully notice this, if you just remove for a moment King George, which is Lucknow, then unless you get a rank of about 500, 600, you don't stand a chance. There was 1748 and 1166, but otherwise everything is less than 500. For radio diagnosis and general medicine, if you want to get into the top 5 government medical colleges, that's where you stand. And mostly you will be exhausted in round 1, at the most round 2, very few going up to round 3. Now, what I'm talking about is deemed medical colleges, deemed universities, what you call them, right? There, because of the fees higher, the rank slightly expands, but still they're the best medical colleges, so it's extremely still competitive. And a lot of students prefer to go into this private medical college because of the learning that you have, right? So KMC is the best of the lot. KMC in radio diagnosis, it closed at 4891 in round 1 itself. Round 1 over and done, completed. Followed by general medicine at 6489. Amrita School of Medicine in round 1 it's over again at 15,561 for radio diagnosis and 15,090 for general medicine. So there seems to be something here because typically it's radio diagnosis that's preferred, but maybe one candidate came in last because of which that jumped up. But otherwise in round 1 it's over and done. SRM 23,658 followed with general medicine at 25,551. DY Patil, which is in Pune, 35,352 and 37. Now the fee here is 1.5, 2 crore, 3 crore, and which is where there are lesser people competing for it because everyone can't afford that kind of a fee. So you will feel that. And Savita at 22,916 and 41,972. So these are top 5 deemed universities, and this is the kind of closing rank that you have. And add about 6-7% to this as far as this year is concerned, because that's where you will get it, the number of seats. Now the closing rank. So earlier I talked of the 2 branches, right? Now I'm talking of if you still want to do only in deemed university, any branch, anything, but any deemed university, any branch, Then we are coming to this where even at a rank of 66,340, you could get paid seat in deemed university, which is MD General Medicine, which is into Sri Lakshmi Narayana Institute of Medical Sciences in Paediatrics. Or the same thing in Paediatrics, MD Radiodiagnosis, you could get it at 65,104 also. So at 65,000 rank also, you could get into any of the deemed universities, MD Radiodiagnosis or General Medicine. That's what one is talking about. This is the basic data that I showed you, the top 5 medical colleges, the top public colleges, and the kind of ranks that you need to get into the preferred top 8 clinical domains that you want to get into. Exactly come out with how it's going to pan out at each college level so that you will be able to take a decision very, very closely. And lastly and most importantly, this is very important for all of you. A lot of students and parents have reached out to us that they've been cheated by agents who took money from them, promising them a particular seat in a particular college. This is extremely dicey. Most of this happens through common counseling. And when you have common counseling, the agents don't have much of a say. So my request to all parents and students and doctors is don't fall prey for such antics. Go and talk to a credible counselor who's not making money from the college side of it because they're representing an institution. There is no one who can represent an institution in the common counseling in the NEET era, right? Talk to a credible counselor. If you still have an issue, look at this number here, call us up and we'll be able to help you find a counselor, or we can also talk to you ourselves, right? But talk to a counselor who's working for you, talking for you and arguing for you and giving you information so that you can take a more informed decision. And don't talk to an agent, because agents at times take the money and walk away and you'll be left in deep trouble, and that is not what we want you to do. Our job is to inform you, our job is to alert you, and which is what we're doing here. We informed you with the data that we have. We are alerting you to the possibility of getting cheated if you go through an agent. So be extremely careful about this. I hope this helps you. I hope and sincerely wish that you get a very, very good rank when the actual results come out and you get into the best institution possible. But in the meanwhile, if you still need anything, reach out to us and we are here to help you out to get into the best college possible based on your merit, your score and your attitude. Thank you so much.